Hey, we're outside St. Roch's Bar in East Austin, and we're going to a crawfish boil. It is a Louisiana Cajun tradition that dates back centuries. They call them crayfish, crawfish, mud bugs. They basically look like teeny tiny little lobsters. I'm really excited. I've never done this before. Wish me luck. Rig you got up here, it's like your own personal thing?
Well, this is a crawfish cooker that we got. They usually make them in South Louisiana. We got ours from East Texas.
You call this the jet engine? Is that what we're hearing right now?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're hearing right now.
You're from New Orleans, right?
I am from New Orleans originally. In New Orleans right now on Good Friday, I'm sure there's a lot of crawfish boils going on. This is one of those things, there's a social aspect behind it. It's invite the neighbors, it's do it in your driveway.
Okay, so it's kind of like the Louisiana equivalent of like barbecuing outside in the yard.
Sure.
As far as like flavor goes, what's the difference between a crayfish and a different crustacean?
So the crawfish it's similar a little bit to a lobster, a little bit to a shrimp. It's not as firm as say a lobster. It's a smaller, more delicate meat.
Okay.
They farm crawfish. A lot of the times, some of the crawfish you'll get will be wild caught. A lot of times they'll farm them. What they usually use is like rice fields. When they harvest the rice, they'll dump the crawfish in. The crawfish will eat up all the rest of the unused crop.
Oh, that's interesting.
So there's a sustainability issue there as well, so that they can harvest those crawfish. And that's why they call them mud bugs. They kind of live in the swamp and in the mud.
And is that what they do in the? Correct me my pronunciation, the Atchafalaya Basin, is that?
Yeah, so that's
that's
going to be that area around Lafayette, Crowley, all of that area produces crawfish.
All right, well, I'll let you get to work. I'm sorry, my friend, but I'm going to eat you. This is sort of the mythology, the Cajun mythology of the crawfish, is that they're actually tiny lobsters, and that the Acadians, who are the Cajuns, were exiled from Nova Scotia in the 1700s, and the lobsters missed them so much that they traveled from Nova Scotia down to Louisiana to be with the Cajuns, and that over the long and treacherous journey, they shrunk in size until they became the tiny little creatures that they are today. So when I was a very small child, my parents were having a dinner party, and they brought lobsters back, live lobsters, and they were gonna cook them. So I went in, I saw the lobsters moving around, and I was like, what are you gonna do with these? And when they told me that they were gonna throw them in a pot of boiling water and boil them alive, I had a fit. I started screaming, I started crying and throwing things and rolling around on the floor. I was probably 5, 6 years old, and I wouldn't shut up. And I threw such a fit that my parents, they decided not to eat the lobster. This for me is a little tinge of sadness, to be honest with you, these little lobsters that just got boiled alive, I mean, it's not gonna stop me from eating all this, but I cannot wait. Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Thanks. This looks good. Can't wait. Here we go. So this is what we're gonna do. Basically, we're gonna get that nice piece of tail meat, and then just kind of squeeze the end and suck that out. And then, my understanding is this is optional, but then you can suck the head. The seasonings are fantastic. If you've ever had something like Old Bay, you know what that tastes like, but a lot of cayenne pepper, super garlicky, it's very salty. The tail is nice, tender meat. Sucking out the guts, sucking out the soup is a little bit more of an intense sensation. It's a little slimy. It's certainly much more fishy.
So you doing all right?
Oh, hey, ma'am. Yeah, please have a seat.
All right. So have you figured out how to eat these things?
Yeah, tell me everything tell me everything I'm doing wrong.
So,
I'm just,
so this is how I eat it. You're gonna break the head off, and you end up with the tail. A lot of people suck the heads. You can. You don't have to. That's just a bunch of seasoning.
right.
And then what I do is I squeeze this part, and then pinch out the meat. And there you go. You got it?
I got it.
Sweet.
And then as far as the claws go, people eat the meat.
Claws, there's claw meat in there. It's a little tougher to get out, but you gotta slowly peel it out, and it'll come out like a crab claw.
There we go. That's a nice little piece right there. It's more just like about the experience, right?
Sure. So
It's like a fun thing to do.
You're not gonna sit by yourself and eat crawfish. Boil a sack of crawfish and eat them by yourself.
Right.
It's invite a group of friends over. Hopefully get some cold beers and have that.
Yeah, because it's a thing where, like, if you really if you were starving and really just wanted to eat meat,
Right.
like there's an easier way to get meat,
yeah.
right?
There's a lot of work there for very little meat in those tails.
Yeah, it's more just like sort of this tactile experience of like
Right.
picking things apart and getting little bits out and like, yeah. Well, this is great, man. This has been a really fun experience.
Glad you guys could come by.
Hey, thanks for coming out to this crawfish boil at St. Roch's in East Austin. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Dining on a Dime. And if you would like to watch more, please click here. This is the smokehouse, is that right?
Yeah, this is it.
I heard there's only like one or two in the city.